Welcome to the Redvee TV Grand Final Preview Show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2021 season. Kev, A-Star, getting the money's worth. Saints going all the way. Three-peat, it's on.
Yeah, it certainly is, isn't it? Every single chance in the world.
Under the floodlights here at Old Trafford. Some would call it the Theatre of Dreams. I wouldn't. I'd call it Old Trafford. But this time, tomorrow night or this evening, if you're watching on Saturday, we may well be seeing Saints become champions. But it is not going to be easy, Kev, against a Catalan Dragon side who have performed fantastically through the whole of 2021. And you have to say it's a real 50-50 game.
It is, yeah. That's it. They've been the most consistent team in results. That's why they finished top of the table with the percentage of wins against games. They've beaten us 2 out of 3 times, and the 2 times even, get my words out, that they've beaten us have been when both teams have been at full strength. What we need to make sure is that game at Magic is a massive lesson for us, and that we continue to play for 80 minutes, not just for 70 odd. I'm sure they'll have taken the medicine with that. And I'm sure if we get down to that, where we're 2 or 3 scores ahead with 5-6 minutes remaining, we'll be trying to play proper competition percentage rugby of kick it long, hold it up, put it in touch, don't put it out in goal and give them a 7 tackle set, but properly play.
Lie on for loads of 6 agains.
Yeah.
Not that.
We won't be whinging about them then, will we?
No. Magic Weekend is obviously the ghost or the elephant in the room, isn't it? But is that the greatest thing that potentially could have happened to us this season in terms of ensuring that we don't get complacent? If we'd have come away from Newcastle having won 30 points to 12 as the score was with 6 minutes to go, and we hadn't allowed them 3 consolation tries, would there be potentially Saints fans sat there now thinking that Saturday's going to be easy? That we absolutely hammered them and it's going to be the same again. But does that result where Catalan came back, took the victory, well deserved, does that make us treat them with more respect potentially? Not necessarily as the club and as players and as coaches, but as fans on the terraces watching?
Yeah, I think you're right with regards to, I think the players, coaches, club and everything like that will have been treating them with respect. If we're playing Halton Farmworth Hornets, they treat them with respect, let alone a team who's finished top of SuperLeague.
You probably give them more respect than witness.
Probably. But yeah, I got pelters after the Magic Weekend game from the fella who thinks I'm from Burnley for saying that it could be a great result for us. That, yeah, it took the League Leaders Shield away, but I don't think he understood what I was saying. I don't think that the kind of understanding, the intelligence was there to get the fact that in sport you learn lessons from defeat more than you learn lessons from winning. It's great because you can get yourself over the line. If you've won the games, you can get yourself over the line, but you're finding yourself in a position at Magic Weekend where we're 3 scores to the good. As you say, they score a consolation try and then another and then another, and then take us into golden point, and we kind of rush that our drop goal attempts, I felt, in golden point as well. So while I never want to see Saints lose, you can learn a lot more in adversity than you will from us going trampling all over Catalan. If we'd have scored another try, won by 4 clear scores, as you say, people would have been saying, well, we absolutely mullered them a couple of weeks ago. Why are things going to be different? Now it does. It gives it that real edge of the seat, big game feeling. No effect. And I respect Salford and how they played in 2019, But I don't think there was any point in that grand final or before that grand final where we were necessarily worried about playing Salford. Thought it might be a bridge too far for them. Don't feel that today with Catalan. Don't feel that with Catalan before the game.
And I think probably if you go back and watch our grand final preview from 2019, that's probably reflected in that. We expected to go there and win if we played as we could. We could play fantastically tomorrow, but Catalan, if they play at their strengths, could still easily get the results as well. It really could go 50-50. That said, if we have 3 scores to the good with 5 minutes to go and Catalan score, will I be tweeting that it's a consolation try?
Yes, you will, because Absolutely. That's just what you do.
Because in any other circumstances it would have been. But yes, that's where we're at. I'm very surprised to see the bookmakers giving us an 8-point start. Is that based on... Sorry, we're -8. Yeah, we're -8. So that seems massive to me. Is that based on just history and Saints experiencing big games and Catalan's first grand final? Because to me, that seems a little bit disrespectful. We talked last week coming out of the ground and we said we thought it'd be basically going off scratch this week.
Yeah, and I think I'd stick with that. Listen, they may know a little bit more with the likes, and we'll come on to the squads in a minute, whether Sam Tompkins is fully fit. Or they may be hedging the bets with that. But on a cold-ish October evening at Old Trafford, I'm sorry, but I don't see how, at the moment, I don't see how you can turn around and say one team's 8 points better than the other. People might point at how good we were for 70-odd minutes in Magic and say, well, we should have won that by even more than 8. But this is a different beast. A final's a different beast, mate.
And they played over 80 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
That said, the three-peat is a distinct possibility. I've seen some things today basically saying, if Saints win, they can equal Leeds Rhinos. Nope. We would equal grand final wins, but this would be our 9th Super League title. Leeds would have 8. We would be standalone, top of the tree in terms of Super League trophies. But listen, Rugby League didn't start in 1996. Wigan's still top of that tree, but with no sign of them winning anything in the near future. We're chasing them down. But yeah, if Saints could win tomorrow, 9 out of 26 seasons. Is it 25, 26 seasons? 26, isn't it? What an achievement that would be.
Yeah, it can't be understated, can it? I think in a salary cap sport where we're seeing it this season where we've got the likes of Lachlan Coote, and while it's not been announced, fully expect Theo Farge to be going and James Bentley's going, how the salary cap works and squeezes the better players out to other teams. Salary cap in its truest form and how it should work technically. To be as dominant over the past couple of seasons as we have been when it's come to the big games, it shouldn't be understated. I think that when you look at it, as I say, in the grand scheme of things, with how we do things, how we have a good base of local lads with some hand-picked Aussies, Kiwis, Samoans, Tongans, Fijians, the likes of us should be a template of how things work.
And that's it. I think I spoke about it this week. Yes, it's absolutely fantastic that we've got Eamon McManus and the rest of the board who like to remain in the background, back in the club. But listen, it doesn't matter whether you've got the Saudi investment fund behind you or Warrington's owner, if your club is run incompetently. And I think it's absolute testament to Mike Rush as the chief exec, all of the coaching staff, the backroom staff, and the team who are put in place, developing the youth, bringing them through, supplementing, which means we don't have to go out every year and just buy in. We can develop and bring players through, which means we probably get them at probably slightly less than the premium that you would pay. And that squad has been developed, and essentially we're well on the way to creating a dynasty. Even, and I say that even if we lose tomorrow, because at the end of the day, we've already got one trophy in the bank this season already. And many said before the start of the year that they want to win the Challenge Cup. But obviously you get greedy. You win one, you want to win another. And that's the mentality of this squad as well. But year in, year out, we're in the hunt for trophies, even with the Lachlan Coote, Kevin Nagama, the likes of those players, and Theo Far's leaving at the end of the season. You know already, looking at the recruitment for next season, we're going to be in the hunt again.
Yeah, that's it. And we've not been out of the playoffs since it's been a playoff format either.
Never out of the top four.
And it's an unreal stat that to just back it up season after season after season. That builds its own pressure as well. It does build its own pressure. Each coach coming in, so the likes of Justin Holbrook came in and obviously put a smile back on players' faces, allowed them a little bit more freedom when they were playing, and that's the benefits of that are being reaped as well by Christian Wolff. Whoever comes in, and I know Wolfie's got another year. Whoever comes in after Christian Wolff has got the pressure of not maintaining top four. You're not necessarily going to turn around and say you've got to be in the top four, but you've got to be in the playoffs, and that's the pressure that you've got as a club of our size. Okay. Even when you're going through the lean patches, you've still got to have that pressure.
Does Christian Wolff still now not get the credit he deserves? It is all right to say Justin Holbrook brought this squad through, got them playing again, but year one, he didn't win it. Year two, he did. But then we could have appointed plenty of coaches who wouldn't have been able to carry on that legacy. You can see Christian Wolff's stamp on this side. You can see the way the defence is much better now than it was under Justin Holbrook. He's changed the style of play, but remained consistent in the hunt for trophies.
Yeah, I think, as you say about carrying on that legacy, you're right that I know people don't necessarily like some of the styles of play, how we've got a plan A, and if plan A isn't working, we just stick to plan A because it will work. And that again goes to some of the backroom staff where we're the fittest, I think we're the fittest team in the league. He possibly doesn't, and because we keep finishing second as well. And I saw a little bit of a conversation about Coach of the Year, and Coach of the Year, Steve McNamara, wasn't it? Finished top. I still don't get why we have awards before the end of the season. I don't get it why any sport would have awards before the end of the season, because there's still a long way to go.
See, I don't get that award anyway. Do you know what? I can understand Steve McNamara winning this season because because he has outperformed with that squad. But saying that, I do not see how a St. Helens coach can win Coach of the Year unless they went unbeaten. Because and is that because our expectations and Super League as a whole, the expectations of St. Helens, because as we talked about, the way the club has been built up, never finishing outside the top four, you have to do something. Would have to do something extraordinary to be named as Coach of the Year.
No, I think it's almost like the easy thing of just finishing top. Because there's a couple of coaches you could argue for Coach of the Year.
If we finished top, Kev, and Catalans finished second, I still believe Steve McNamara would have been winning that award this season.
Fair enough. That's it, because you could argue that Tony Smith could have been a recipient of it, and I don't think I'd have argued with that either. But yeah, listen, he probably does, and good for us that he goes under the radar, because him going under the radar probably means that the Aussie job offer that he will be looking for at the end of next season, I think, the Aussie job offer hasn't come too early for us as a club. And it's allowed him, like, even if he doesn't win anything next season, he can turn around and say, I've gone over there, won the Super League, got them to another grand final, won the Challenge Cup. Even if we don't do anything next year, that is a good basis on how he can go and apply for jobs over in Australia, or how he's going to get jobs. He's come and done it as a first-team head coach over here. As I say, it is probably more of an Aussie style of play that he's brought into us. A little bit tough, a little bit more pragmatic, the phrase, rather than us being all gung-ho, swashbuckling going forward. But we've still got the players who still shine at the right times. And that's why we finished second, and that's why we're at the big dance.
Oh, it's still nice to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Should we get onto the squads?
Yeah, please.
Saints as the away team in blue for this one. Following in the footsteps of quite a few Saints teams who've won in blue. But then if we'd have played in the Redvee, we'd be saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no like, oh my God, we're playing in blue. This means that we're going to win it, because we've won it in the Redvee as well, haven't we? Unchanged.
Absolutely. Is that all we need to say? Nothing will change.
Nah, the 17. I think the 17 will be the same. I can't see anything changing unless we've got a little injury that we don't know about. It'll be the same 17 as won last week.
Pretty simple. Should we move on from that?
Yeah, go on.
I don't think there's anybody who would be able to have a debate with us on. They'd want something different.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
And if you do, please feel free to share in the comments, because yeah, it's there, isn't it? We can't really argue.
Well, that's it. I think the only spot that people might argue is whether Joel Thompson comes in instead of Kyler Moore. But I think if you're playing Jack Wellsby on the bench, he's or Louis can be your 13 to give Morgan Knowles a spell if you need that to happen, rather than and having another prop on the bench and going big against big, as we'll see with this Catalans squad.
Good link, Kev. Good link.
Yeah. Should have just been snappy. So I think the big thing with Catalan is, does Sam Tompkins play?
Yeah.
That's it. I think you've properly put him in cotton wool. He might not have trained for a while.
I'm not having it that he's not trained either.
Well, yeah, all right, fair enough. But even if they didn't have Sam Tompkins in the Arth Morg is some class player. I think I mention him every time.
Dead good.
No, he's an able deputy. He's almost like Jack Wellsby's for us. You wouldn't be bothered about Jack Wellsby having to slot into a couple of positions. I think if Morg plays, then Catalan will probably not be quite as streetwise as with Sam Tompkins in there. But we say it every single time. They've got big forwards. They've got clever players. They've got niggly players. Listen, they've turned us over twice this season already. We've got to be on top of our game here.
And you're right, Kevin. Do you know what? If we come out of the game tomorrow night and we haven't been successful and Catalan have won, do you know what? You'll probably get a load of Warrington Wigan fans trying to give us pelters over it, but it is what it is. We understand it's sport. Games can go either way. We've won the last two and we've won the Challenge Cup this year.
Yeah.
That's life. Yes, we'll be disappointed, but we'll just move on and go again. And if we win, we'll probably be quite unbearable.
I think we're quite unbearable anyway.
Are we?
Well, to some we are, yeah. Leave that in the comments. That's it. Another big one. If you're a Wire or a Wigan fan and you've got this far when your season finished last year, get a life. Fair play to him. Fair play to him. People like listening to biased opinion. That's why we get quite a few. We've got quite a few people who comment. The one thing that I will say just before we move on from this squad, isn't it James Maloney's last game as a professional or top flight professional anyway? So he's going to want to go out with an absolute bang. He's a very, very, very dangerous player. So listen, just try and close him down. Make sure that the forwards don't get on top of ours. It sounds easy for me saying this in the office here, but that's just, it's pretty much how it is, isn't it?
I'd ask you for a prediction, Kev, but I don't actually want to give one because I don't know how it's going to go. I just hope Saints win.
Yeah, I'm not going to sully my reputation by throwing a prediction in here. I think it'll be tight. I think, in fact, no, I'm going to throw one prediction in. It'll be a 1-score game, and that's all you're getting off me. I think it'll be a 1-score game.
I think it could be. I think it could be quite close, but then I think if somebody gets on top, they could blow the other side out potentially. It's one of those. Anything could happen in this fixture. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Listen, we keep harking back.
I'd take an early red card for the Catalan Dragons.
I've just seen a stat. There's been no sin bins in a grand final ever. There's only been the Ben Flower red card. Is that your bet of the day now? It's been said out loud. The sin bin.
Given the way the refereeing has gone this season, and the way the rules have gone, then yeah, that is a good bet between us two tomorrow. So fingers crossed. Should be hopefully a good day. And do you know what? After the pandemic, regardless, the fact that you're going to see Old Trafford full of Saints fans and Wigan and Warrington fans supporting Catalan, I'm a bit disappointed, really. I just felt that the patriotic thing to do would be to support the English team. God save the Queen and all that. And I'm surprised Super League haven't been sending out emails asking us to get behind England versus France in such a battle, because I'm sure the patriots of Wigan and Warrington and Lee and Leeds and Hull will all be there tomorrow at Old Trafford, making it a cauldron of noise, 4 sides of the ground against Le Drax, and making sure they don't steal away that grand final Super League trophy, taking it back to France, never to be seen again for at least 12 months. They will not be wanting that. So paint your faces with the St. George's Cross, tilt it a little bit to make it a red V, and get behind the Saints.
Haven't they been sending emails out saying, like, dragon for a day?
Yeah, like the really crap T-shirts that people sell on, like, Facebook Marketplace before a Challenge Cup final. Oh, I'm a warrior for life, but I'm a dragon for the day.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, do you know what? They've got to sell the tickets somehow, haven't they?
Yeah. And I think when people are whinging that Old Trafford might only be half full because Catalan are one of the teams in it, just get over yourselves.
Do you know what I've never understood, Kev?
Go on.
Why rugby league fans, and I know they talk about the rugby league family, etc., but Saints' average attendance is about 11,500.
Yeah.
Catalans' average attendance playing in France is probably about 9,000. Why do we suddenly expect a 70,000 seater stadium to be full? Because if Wigan were playing Catalan tomorrow, would you be there?
No, as awful as it sounds. No.
I support my own club. So listen, fair play. There are a lot of neutrals who support the grand final and want to be there for the big showpiece occasions, probably because there's only about 4 or 5 clubs actually ever been there. So if you want to enjoy a big occasion, you've got to go. Fair play. But as a Saints fan, would I be there if my team isn't there? Absolutely not. And sorry if that's my mentality on it. I've got absolutely no interest if my own team isn't playing, unless somebody's playing probably Wigan and I probably want them to win, but not enough to turn up and don a somebody for a day t-shirt.
Like a Rhinos for the day t-shirt or
absolutely not.
Or a Wire for the day t-shirt.
If Warrington were playing Wigan in a grand final, I'd want them both to get beat. But that is what it is. So yes, Catalan have got it. Oh, they're not going to bring. Well, so what if they don't bring 8,000 people or whatever it is? How many they bring over? They're there on merit because they deserve to be there. End of. At the end of the day, the Catalan supporters who make it over will have a good day. The ones in France who are watching on TV who can't get over, if they win, will have a fantastic day. It's irrelevant to me. Yes, it doesn't look fantastic that a 70,000 seater stadium isn't full, but maybe that's where we are as a sport.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right. That's where we are as a sport and a society. We're a working class game, and I know football is as well. But because football is light years ahead of us in everything, really, and it is, unfortunately, it is. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough asking people to keep shelling out and getting your. Because I bet even some of your neutral fans, whether they are Warrington, Leeds, Wigan, or whoever, who would usually just go to a grand final or a Challenge Cup or both, how things are at the moment, it might just be a case of we can't afford that. You can't afford to go and do it. You can't afford
grand final or your gas bill.
Well, that's it. You can't afford to keep milking the same pockets of the same fans over and over again. And this is part of.
It's phenomenal that we're going to be taking 25,000 there tomorrow.
Yeah.
The way you look at the ticket sales, Saints have done tremendous. The town is actually getting out behind the team and getting there. So, yeah, fair play. Before we go, we need to move on to the other important game of the weekend. The ladies' grand final. Deck Harvin naming his squad for the game against Leeds. That will take place on Sunday at Headingley. And it will be on TV, but tickets are available if fans want to get over and behind the girls. I think we spoke about it last week. They just need to get out there and do what they've done all year, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. It's good to see Emily Rudge in there because she missed the semi-final with an injury. Said she would be back for it, or hope to be back for it. So hopefully she can turn out and it all goes well. It's, as I said, it was difficult to be overcritical, but there were some mistakes in that performance. And I think that if they can...
You won 58-0.
They did. And that's it. They dominated the game. And as I said, it's tough to be ultra-critical, but it could have been more. And I suppose that's it. When you're spoiled with a team like the St. Helens women's team who are trailblazers, who are completely bossing the league and the cup as they have this season, you just want them to fix that up because you want them to realise their full potential and win Super League. They've had a couple of semi-final defeats. Obviously, there was no league at all last year, so hopefully they can go out there. They've got to watch out because Leeds in their semi-final came from behind and won the game. They overturned the deficit against York. So again, hopefully they can take the lesson of keep playing until the last.
And I think, as we said, I think the games against Leeds over the last couple of years have always been tight affairs. If there's one team that is capable of beating us, if there is anyone, it is that Leeds team, and they'll be well up for it in front of a raucous home crowd.
Yeah, definitely, and that's it. They've got some great players over there. But this year, I think the Saints have looked fitter than all the other teams. They have looked more slick. They have looked just all round better. Hopefully, it can be a lovely saintly double over the weekend, and then they can do your idea of the photo with the men's and women's teams all interspersed with all the cups in front of them. Look beautiful, that, wouldn't it?
Will indeed. Right. Fingers crossed, Kev. We'll have a good day tomorrow. We'll do some filming along the way of the day and hopefully get it recorded. And fingers crossed we actually get to use the footage.
Yeah. Yeah. Not more deleted stuff.
Don't get me wrong, win or lose, we will be back tomorrow evening with the instant fan reaction from outside Old Trafford. Hopefully you'll join us and hopefully we will be celebrating. But if not, it wasn't meant to be. But come on, you Saints. So bloody negative. Like, share and subscribe.